Bitcoin bear flag, we're going to look at this chart. Bitcoin bear flag broke down yesterday. Like I had been saying, the probability was starting to favor. If Bitcoin is putting in a top or put in a top per the spot ETF at 49,000, does it mean that potentially 6 weeks from now is when the market could top? So again, my point is if they cut 6 times, think about what the economy has to be dealing with at that point. Is it super rosy? That actually could be a very bad thing, right? You'd almost, for equity prices at least, you'd almost hope that the Fed doesn't cut that much, maybe even only just once or twice, because at least that means the economy is strong.
Experienced trader Gareth Soloway, with a wealth of over 2 decades of trading expertise, delves into detailed chart analysis, providing valuable updates on the market. Following dovish signals from the U.S. Federal Reserve in December, market participants factored in multiple interest rate cuts in 2024, which would have been a boon for Bitcoin's price. Those hopes are now fading. After reaching $49,000 at its peak on January 11th, the cost of Bitcoin slides below $41,000, making a lower low. Lower interest rates benefit risky assets like Bitcoin as investors take more risks searching for returns. In a recent CNBC interview, Drew Mattis, MetLife Investment Management's chief market strategist, said that he expects the Fed to cut rates 6 times in 2024. Goldman Sachs predicts 5 rate cuts this year. As per Soloway, the pivotal question revolves around whether the Federal Reserve will proceed with substantial rate cuts. He suggested that if the Federal Reserve decides to lower interest rates 6 times starting in March, they acknowledge big economic problems. Following the Bitcoin spot ETF approval verdict, Bitcoin dominance has dropped significantly. Soloway pointed out that if there's a confirmed breakdown, it could lead to a movement towards the 38,000 level. On January 17th, the Solana price recovery teased a bullish breakout from the resistance trendline of the flag pattern. Solana failed to move above $100 and break the resistance at $104. Soloway finds Solana to be a compelling and noteworthy case. Let's now delve into the video to examine Soloway's analysis thoroughly. But before we begin, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell icon to stay updated with the latest content.
We need to look at how much the market is looking to expect from the Fed. So we've had multiple Fed officials in the last couple days coming out and saying, hey guys, we may not cut till the 3rd quarter of this year. We had one Fed official, Waller, last week that basically said, hey guys, we're not even going to cut if the economy doesn't weaken at all. Yet the market clearly is showing us that in the very least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rate cuts this year going out to the December 2024 meeting, right? So again, market is calling the Fed's bluff. Now, the question is, and this is what I've said to you guys a lot, if the Fed cuts 6 times in this year, so this year 6 times, and they're not even slated to cut the first in January. So January 31st, right here, this is the first meeting. It's only about a week and a half away, right? They are not expected to cut. There's a 97.4% chance that they will not cut rates. That's basically a gimme, right? So the key is then starting in March, there's basically an equal chance that they'll cut in March or the next one is in May. So and then you have cut all the way until the end of the year. So again, my point is if they cut 6 times, think about what the economy has to be dealing with at that point. Is it super rosy? That actually could be a very bad thing, right? You'd almost, for equity prices at least, you'd almost hope that the Fed doesn't cut that much, maybe even only just once or twice, because at least that means the economy is strong. So this is a chart where I was telling you guys that every candle we got sideways was a little bit more of a mature bear flag. We got the breakdown. We haven't confirmed it yet. We need to see a close below, okay? This is important. We need to see a close below yesterday's low for it to confirm the breakdown. All right, so if that happens, now we're in play for a move to 38,000. Okay, so just something to keep an eye on. I'm not going to say much more because I think it's all self-explanatory. I do want to look at Solana. Solana is interesting, and I'm going to show you why. In fact, you guys can see the chart. Look at this trend line on Solana. Going back to November, basically mid-November, look at how this trend line has been the stability of Solana the entire way. In other words, hits here, hits here, hits here, here. Every time it's hitting, it's getting little bounces or big bounces in this case. Hits here, and then where is it right now? Right there. Now, the beauty of this in terms of Solana is that it gives you a level to trade against. If it breaks below that line, watch out below. I mean, this thing literally could probably correct This would be my guess. You're heading back to about 75 bucks, give or take. Very obvious level here. But again, as long as it holds here, maybe it can hold up and go up. But again, the key is knowing your levels as a trader. Where is it above? Where is it below? If it breaks here, what happens? Well, I shouldn't say what happens. What's the likely outcome versus if it holds here, what's the likely outcome? Okay, so pretty cool chart there.
Wall Street ended the week on a positive note, with stocks closing at all-time highs on speculation. The Federal Reserve will start cutting rates this year, bolstering the outlook for corporate America. After hitting a low in October 2022, the S&P 500 has surged about 35% and topped its previous closing high of 4,796.56 on Friday. The gauge became the last of the three primary U.S. equity benchmarks to close at a record. Bitcoin's correlation with the S&P 500 is at its lowest in more than 3 years. While examining historical data, Soloway raises an intriguing possibility. If Bitcoin indicates a peak at $49,000, he suggests that this might hint at a potential market top roughly 6 weeks later. Now, let's redirect our attention to a video.
This is a chart of Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin right here. This is your M top at 69,000 in 2021, and this is your market top. One of the things that I like to just point out to people is that if we have seen a near-term top in Bitcoin, is there a coordination with the stock market potentially topping? And one of the things that I've been looking at here, by the way, this is amazing packed informational game plan, is that you topped right here on Bitcoin on, let me see here, on November 10th, 2021. So this is November 10th, NOV 10th, right? So here, if we look over here, when did the S&P top? And if we look here, it was January 4th. So Jan 4th, 2022. So what we see here is that essentially there's approximately 6 weeks, 7 weeks between the top on Bitcoin, which is probably the highest risk asset of the big assets that are multi-billion dollars, and the stock market right here. Now, okay, so that's one data point, no big deal, right? So let's go to the next chart here and take a look at this one. This is from 2017. So let's look at 2017 and if that holds any weight. So what we see in 2017 is that on December 17th, 2017, Bitcoin topped right here, right? And then how long until the stock market had this dramatic decline? And what we can do here is actually take a look, and that is on January 26th. Jan 26th, apologize for my sloppy writing, 2018. All right, so now if we look at this date to this date, how many weeks is it? It's about 6 weeks again. So what we can do now is we can potentially say, okay, listen, 2 data points is interesting. I mean, it doesn't guarantee anything, we know that. But could it be that if Bitcoin is putting in a top or put in a top per the spot ETF at 49,000, does it mean that potentially 6 weeks from now is when the market could top? And again, I'm an educator here. My goal is to just give you guys information. You could say Gareth's a mess, he knows nothing, this doesn't mean anything. Or you could say, oh, that's interesting. You know, let's watch. And that's really my goal here, just to present information to you guys, give you guys an idea of what I am doing. Okay.
The probability of the Fed cutting rates by 25 basis points in March has fallen to 52% from 77% a week ago, according to the CME's FedWatch tool. According to well-known crypto analyst Benjamin Cowan, rate cuts from the Fed often coincide with risk asset pullbacks, at least initially. For example, Bitcoin may decline in price, testing lower support levels around $36,000. Your input is valuable. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this content helpful, give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to stay updated. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us.